A shy bachelor is seduced by a younger coworker.
She thought he was a good-looking, handsome guy.
But he has demons he can barely contain.
She was going to blame him for rape.
I said, "You're playing with dynamite."
And when 2 becomes 3, an obsessive passion turns deadly.
He said, "I'm scared she's trying to kill me."
He was crying and he said he didn't want his wife to leave him.
This wasn't a crime of passion. This was revenge.
Love may be blind and marriage bliss, but divorce is murder. Covington, Kentucky, 1999. 19-year-old Amanda Hornsby is having the worst day of her life. Her husband has just walked out on her after only 3 months of marriage. What's worse, before he left, he stole money from the fast food restaurant where she worked, leaving Amanda on the hook to repay the stolen cash.
She trusted him so much that she thought he wouldn't do something like that. But he did. It proved that he did. And, well, she had to pay a bunch of money back, and she never saw him again. At Burner, really Burner, you know.
It isn't the first time Amanda's been burned. Her parents died when she was 7, leaving her and her brother to be raised by an aunt.
They really took it pretty hard with their mom going. Really, really hurt them.
Now, coming out of a disastrous 3-month marriage, Amanda is alone again, and so broke she's on the verge of bankruptcy. After getting fired from the restaurant, she finally finds a job in a grocery store.
She got the job there because it was real close to home, and they liked her.
She quickly becomes popular among her coworkers.
Amanda was probably one of the nicest people that you'd ever meet in your life. Very easy to talk to, outgoing. You could be having the crappiest day ever, and you'd come in and talk to her for about 5 minutes and you'd forget what she was even mad about.
And she was really an honest, good person. She was serious and had good work ethics and stuff. And she could take problems and solve them real quick, too. You know, she was good with people.
I think maybe come over a bit early and I'll make some food.
As Amanda settles into the job, a fellow employee catches her eye. His name is Woody Smith, and he works as a meat cutter.
She was asking all kinds of questions about him to coworkers, what kind of person he was, and asked if he had a girlfriend. And she asked about Woody, and he told her that Woody was gay. And she said, "Oh, he's not," and it was just a joke, you know.
Amanda is intrigued. Woody's 5 years older than Amanda, and unlike her ex, he's mature and financially secure.
As far as what attracted Amanda to Woody, in my mind, it was more probably stability. It was a way out of her situation. She wanted to be independent. She wanted to live on her own.
He owned his own house, and he had a nice vehicle, and she came from a real poor background.
But Woody doesn't date. He's shy around women, with good reason. When he was only 15, he got into some very adult trouble.
He went to a Christian school, and he got a girl pregnant, and they had a baby in May, and he turned 16 in February. And he went to work at a grocery store, and he helped provide for his daughter. But it didn't work out with them, and she told him that it was over, and a few weeks later, she married this other guy.
His ex-girlfriend moved away, and Woody now barely sees their daughter. The whole affair leaves him with a deep mistrust of women.
He didn't date. You know, I would tell him, you know, you need to move on and you need to get out, and he would always just have his friends over, guy friends, and they'd play video games, and then he was on a bowling lead, and he went skiing, snow skiing, and he'd play basketball with them.
After a few weeks, Amanda decides to ask Woody out.
Amanda made the first move, because Woody, he's shy until he gets to know you.
Amanda's charm slowly wins Woody over.
Have you been working here a long time?
Yeah, a little too long.
Soon, they're inseparable.
Well, she really was fond of him, very, very fond of him. And talked about him a lot, you know, that he was mature and he was good and he had his own house. And he certainly was honest because she was watching for that because she didn't want to be another dishonest person. She found a peace with him and they could talk, you know. She said he was the best thing that ever happened to her, and he'd say the same thing about her.
The relationship takes Woody's mother by surprise.
One of his roommates told me, said, I think he's fell in love. And I said, well, I didn't know he was seeing anyone. And they said, yeah, he hasn't came home for days. They were always holding hands and you know, and she was sitting in his lap and hugging him, and they were very in love.
After being wary of relationships for so long, Woody is finally ready to give up his bachelor life.
He told me, he said, if I bring somebody home to meet you, it'll be the person I plan to spend the rest of my life with. And he brought her to meet me. And then 2 weeks later, she moved in with him.
Okay, that's great. So when do you think that it will receive it by?
Financially, things are on the up and up. At work, Amanda is promoted.
Yeah, this week would be great if you can do it. Friday? Fantastic.
She worked her way up from just being a store clerk
Thank
to
you.
being the assistant manager.
Then Woody finds a new job with a soft drink company. Although it brings better pay and better benefits, it also means long hours and working the night shift.
The hours were crazy. Like, he'd leave at like 2 o'clock in the morning or something, and then it was way up in Dayton, Ohio or something. And that put a strain on everything for them.
Especially when Amanda finds out she's pregnant. She'd like to marry Woody, but there's a problem. Amanda is still married, and by law, she can't get divorced while pregnant, even though she's separated and the baby is clearly Woody's.
She was with Woody, and no way it could have been nobody but Woody's baby.
Sadly, Amanda miscarries. This opens the door for a divorce. Woody pays for it and helps her get back on her feet financially.
He helped her get a divorce, and she had a lot of debt, and he helped her file bankruptcy. She filed bankruptcy.
Another pregnancy follows, and this time, Amanda carries to term. But when the baby is born, the young couple gets a shock.
She called me on the phone just bawling, crying, and I said, I thought maybe the baby died when she's just crying and couldn't talk to me, you know. I said, is the baby okay? And she said, yeah, but he's got Down syndrome.
Psychotherapist Stacy Kaiser and forensic psychologist Brian Russell believe the arrival of the new baby will put a serious strain on the marriage.
Raising a special needs child is a huge commitment. It's a lot of pressure. It's all of the things that raising a child is normally, plus many more challenges. It's very time-intensive.
Special needs children require additional patience and commitment on the part of the parents. And so a lot of times what happens to couples is that they become so focused on that child and their needs, and they need to do that they stop focusing on their relationship. And so they don't have as much intimacy.
Really, a lot of special needs children's parents have very happy, fulfilling family lives and parenting lives and relationships with one another. It just sort of requires a very clear set of core values about what the priorities are.
Woody's mother, Phyllis, helps care for their newborn son. This brings the women together, and they form a strong bond.
His mom and Amanda were really close. I'd like to say that she was closer to Amanda more than she was to Woody. Amanda was always down there helping her, and they were very close.
She was a great mother. Onyx was born Downs, and anything that they told them to do, they would do it, work with him in any way and to do what he needed to have done for him.
Parenthood suits them well. And after 2 years, Amanda is pregnant with their second child.
Amanda really wanted to have another kid because she said if something happened to her and Woody, she wanted to have him to have another sibling that would take care of him.
She and Woody finally decide to tie the knot. They get married out of state in Tennessee, but not for romantic reasons. Amanda has been claiming government benefits to pay for special care for their son. If the Kentucky government finds out she and Woody are married, she'll have to give them up.
She didn't claim Woody's income because they got married out of state. So I guess they didn't legally have to put on there that they were married.
6 months later, their second child, a daughter, is born.
They were a happy couple, very happy couple.
I thought this was a good match, and he seemed so calm and so good to her that I just thought she deserves something good after all that she's been burnt and all losing her mom and dad and not having nothing. Now she can have a good family life now.
But already there is trouble on the horizon.
The only kind of interaction he really wanted from her was to have sex.
With her troubles behind her, Amanda Hornsby can now concentrate on raising a family with her new husband. But as Woody and Amanda settle into parenthood, something starts to bug her. Woody is less and less involved in family life.
Woody?
What?
Can you come help me, please?
I'm busy.
They were having problems. She was complaining a lot about things that weren't getting done, and he wouldn't do this or he wouldn't do that, and he wanted to play video games all the time. And that was a big issue that she had.
Woody's disinterest becomes a major sore point.
Help me clean this up.
I said I'm busy.
She was told me at one point in time that he was just real, like, standoffish. He wasn't real family-oriented. He would stay, like, downstairs in his little room while she would be up there taking care of the kids and, you know, doing all that sort of things.
So I guess in a sense, she felt like a single mom if she had to do it all by herself anyway.
It gets to a point where Woody only wants one thing from her.
Amanda? Hey, you in here?
Whenever he felt like coming back from upstairs in the basement, he would,
I said, you in here?
you know, that's the only kind of interaction he really wanted from her was to have sex.
She starts sleeping in the children's room to avoid him.
She was just, you know, tired, working all day, dealing with the kids by herself, and then she just wouldn't feel like having sex, and she would go to the kids' bedroom and lock the door and sleep in there. And then it would escalate from there with them and stuff like that.
Open the door!
Amanda felt alone by herself, kind of stuck with 2 kids, and not much attention from him, except for, you know, like one thing, and she wanted more. She wanted more of an emotional thing from him.
Stephanie, actually...
Given the grim atmosphere at home, Amanda welcomes attention from an unexpected source, a new store employee.
Okay, thank you.
He recently had just graduated high school. He was in, I think, his first year of college.
David is 9 years younger than Amanda. She finds herself drawn to him. He has qualities that are sorely lacking in her husband.
He had plans for the future. He had goals set in his life. And I think that that's what she admired about him. He wasn't just wanting to be stuck in a small town.
You know, I'm really happy someone like you works here.
She was attracted to him because he paid attention to her. You know, he told her basically everything she wanted to hear. She liked him. She thought he had a fun personality. He could make the stupidest things be funny. David was just a jokester. He was always joking about anything, everything.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But at home, Amanda is careless, and it isn't long before Woody suspects something's going on.
Woody, one morning he got up and Amanda's phone was beeping, and he was gonna, turn it off. And when he opened it up, it was a number and it was a text message. And when he hit it, it said, "Call me when he leaves for work."
Soon, Amanda is texting and taking calls from David, even in Woody's presence.
He said he'd be playing with the kids, and she'd be walking off and texting, or she'd be talking to somebody on the phone.
Woody confronts Amanda with his suspicions.
Hey, who are you talking to?
Okay, bye-bye.
Who's that?
He said, "I think something's going on." Then he said she told him that he was hallucinating.
Woody, we're,
the same
we're,
person,
we're
Stephanie?
She
we're
tells
friends.
Woody she's only chatting with her best friend, Stephanie.
Okay, what is this?
But Woody isn't
I'm
reassured.
just worried. You're always on the phone.
You're imagining things. Of course I'm always on the phone. I mean, I've got friends and I've
With a lot
got
of problems,
big...
obviously.
To find out more about the mysterious caller, he accesses Amanda's cell phone account.
He could go on the internet. He told me, he said, "Mom, there were days that she had sent him like 80 to 90 to 100 texts in one day, and she's at work."
Woody decides to take a more direct approach.
Well, he got the guy's phone number, and he called him. And
Yeah, hi. Who is this?
he told him they were just friends. And Amanda needed somebody to talk to, so they were just friends. And Woody said, "I know better than that."
Amanda?
Yeah.
Just got a phone call.
From who?
David?
Faced with denials from both his wife and David, Woody doesn't know where to turn. Meanwhile, Amanda's feelings for David are getting stronger. She knows she shouldn't, but she can't help herself. Their friendship turns into a full-blown affair.
Amanda was married. I did not want her to put herself in that, that situation. And I felt that David wasn't ready. I mean, even if he wanted to be with Amanda, I don't think that he was ready for the responsibilities that, she had. It was a lot.
Amanda is willing to deceive her husband and risk her marriage for this affair. And what that tells me is that she's completely emotionally disconnected from her husband and that she's got some impulsivity issues, that she's not thinking about the long-term consequences of her behaviors.
She's not prioritizing the best interests of her kids. I think that when you put your family at risk, when you put your children's intact family at risk so that you can indulge something that would make you happy personally at their expense, it's arguably abusive.
When Amanda met Woody, he appeared to be stable and responsible and fun, and all of that kind of went away. And so she wants those things in her life, and she sees them in David.
Amanda becomes more and more reckless.
So he would walk down, and there was like a baseball field behind their house, and he would park there, and then he would walk through the back, and she let him in like the basement door.
David was infatuated with her. He liked to be around her. He would be around her all the time if he could have. But I think that just that alone just drew her more towards him. The only thing that she wanted was attention. She wanted to feel appreciated. She wanted to feel loved. I guess he promised her to the world, or, I don't know.
As the affair escalates, so does the potential for trouble.
He said he was just a cocky teenager.
He said, "You'll go to prison for fraud."
Amanda Hornsby is having an affair with her much younger co-worker, David. Her husband, Woody Smith, suspects something is going on, and it's driving him crazy.
He talked to one of his neighbors, and he asked him if he would keep an eye out, and he said, sure, I will. And he said, if I see somebody, I'll call you.
Hey, Haas,
And
let me ask you something.
he
Amanda.
asked the guy a few days later if he had seen anyone, and he said, yeah, I've seen this guy.
His neighbors were telling him that somebody was at his house when he wasn't there.
It's the proof that Woody is looking for and dreading. He now knows for sure Amanda is seeing someone. Overwhelmed by jealousy, he's desperate to see David for himself.
I heard that he had come to the store, spoke to another employee about who David was, and like wanted to know, I guess, what he looked like, who he was, basically.
Woody finally gets a good look at Amanda's lover.
He said, he's just young, looks like a young kid. You know, he watched him for a while, and he said he was just a cocky teenager, you know, or cocky punk's what he called him. He said he was, you know, kind of flirting with some of the girls there. They were a lot of young girls, and he said, you know, he's just laughing and acting silly.
Where were you?
I was out with Stephanie.
Woody once again confronts Amanda.
By your work today.
He told Amanda that he had went over and saw what he looked like, and she told him, she said, oh, you're gonna stalk him?
So are you gonna stalk him now?
Yeah, I might.
You're crazy.
Woody knows his marriage is falling apart.
I'm not gonna lose my kids again.
But what he's really afraid of is losing custody of his children, especially after losing access to the daughter he had when he was 15.
He said, I've went through what I did with his daughter's mother, and he said, I just don't want that, and he said, I'm scared.
When Woody gets home that night, he gets a nasty surprise. Amanda says she's tired of living with a deadbeat husband, and she threatens to walk out on him.
I'm leaving.
But where are we?
I think she felt like it was probably going downhill for her, and she kind of didn't know where to turn, I guess.
Looks like you forgot something.
Woody plays the only card he has left.
How far do you think you're gonna get without this?
Woody threatened her, you know, to report her to the government for fraud on her medical card, on Onyx's medical card.
You leave and I report you.
Amanda has been claiming thousands of dollars in medical benefits for their disabled son that she's not entitled to. Faced with the threat of legal trouble, Amanda agrees to stay.
Woody is not thinking rationally at this point at all, because if he were to report that fraudulent activity, then he too would be seen as a co-conspirator in the fraud and somebody who willingly accepted the benefits of the fraud.
Woody has reached such an intense level of desperation that he is behaving in a really destructive way. The fact that he is considering reporting his wife for having this faulty medical card ultimately will hurt his child. It will take away all of the medical benefits that they've had. And that is not something that he really would want in a calm and normal state of mind.
If you've reached the point where you're thinking about trying to hold on to somebody through threats, it's probably a lost cause, and you ought to be thinking instead about how to safeguard your own rights and make the outcome be the best that it can be for you.
Even so, Woody is consumed with fear that Amanda will leave him and take the kids with her, sneaking away while he sleeps during the day. The only way to prevent that is to stay awake 24 hours a day. He just needs to figure out how.
I could tell that he was crying.
He said, I feel like she's trying to kill me.
Woody Smith is worried his unfaithful wife Amanda will leave him. He's determined to keep an eye on her 24 hours a day, and that requires some chemical help.
He was taking the diet pills, he was drinking all of these energy drinks and the soda that was filled with caffeine to stay awake.
He consumed a large amount of diet pills, which could have contained methamphetamine or ephedrine, and that was supplemented with a large volume of energy drinks.
Staying awake takes a toll on Woody. As the weeks go by, it's pushing him to the brink of mental exhaustion.
I called one day to talk to her and forgot that she was at work that day, and he had picked up the phone. And he said, "Stephanie, I don't want my wife to leave me." He was upset. I could tell that he was crying, and I told him that they needed to work it out. And I felt so bad when I got off the phone with him. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what do you do?
The situation becomes unbearable. One weekend in May, Woody starts to fear for his own safety.
Sunday morning, he got up to go to work, and for some reason, he fell down the steps, and he hurt his back, and he said he hollered for her, and he said it kind of knocked the breath out of him.
Amanda!
What's going on?
Woody isn't injured, but he's convinced his fall wasn't an accident.
I said, well, did you slip on something? He said, no, Mom. He said, I felt like somebody pushed me.
His fears intensify later that day as the family gets ready for dinner.
He thought, well, he would, make dinner. He would cook a steak on the grill and have a nice dinner. And he said when he started to light the grill, it blew up on him and burnt the hairs on his arms and stuff. And he called me and he said, the grill has never did that. And he said it blowed up. And he said, there's just too many things going on. He said, I feel like she's trying to kill me.
He was thinking that it was all Amanda. How are you gonna make him fall down the steps? And then the grill, she didn't really use the grill, so I just thought it was very strange.
It made no sense at all that Amanda would try to go after Woody, to try to kill Woody. You look at the physical differences between the two. Woody's like 6'5", I think, and Amanda was a petite, 5'3". Just huge difference in size.
Phyllis is becoming increasingly alarmed about her son's state of mind.
He was really paranoid from a lot of the things that was going on. He was not the person that he normally is. He was like he was always looking over his shoulder.
Phyllis tries to get Amanda to open up about the marriage.
Come, you know what? Grandma has toys.
I asked her, I said, what's going on, Amanda? I said, is something going on with you and someone else? I said, and she dropped her head. She wouldn't look me in the face.
You and I have shared a lot, right?
Phyllis tells Amanda that Woody is going to ask the phone company to get a printout of all the texts she's sent to David.
She looked right up at me and looked me in the eye, and tears come down out of her eyes, and she said, if he gets those, it's over. And I said, what do you mean it's over? She said, he will leave me and he'll take the kids away from me.
Amanda admits she's cheated on Woody in their own bed.
She told me, she said, well, he's been coming here when Woody's gone. And I said, come in there. And she said, yeah. She said, when Woody leaves to work in the morning, he comes.
Phyllis is alarmed by what she's hearing.
I said, you've got to stop this at home. I said, because you're playing with dynamite. I said, what if Woody comes home? What if he leaves his phone or he forgets something, then he comes back and he finds you and him? I said, you can come and stay with me. And I said, you think about it.
I can't talk to you anymore.
The message gets through. Amanda calls David and ends the affair.
He knows.
But Woody is oblivious and is becoming even more obsessed. He tries to find evidence of David's presence in the bedroom.
From the family, it was reported that he had collected hair and samples from the bed in misdirected attempt to authenticate the affair.
At the same time, he's going to even more extreme lengths to prevent Amanda from leaving with the kids, hiding their birth certificates and researching ways to monitor their activity.
He wanted to get a GPS tracker for his kids. Again, it was kind of an odd desire. I mean, that's like Big Brother, watching every single move that you make.
He said he'd been looking into a tracking device to put on the vehicle that he could track it. Because he said, Mom, I can't, he said, I cannot lose my kids. I'm just so terrified I'm gonna lose them.
When people are afraid they're gonna die, they will literally do anything to survive. And for Woody, losing his marriage, losing his kids is a death sentence. And so he is in survival mode. This is a man who is wanting to hold on to what he values so much that he's doing extreme, out of the norm things.
Woody's anxiety about the potential for him to get divorced and lose partial or total access to his children is sort of spiraling into a paranoid place, doing what psychologists sometimes call catastrophizing, where he just sort of ruminated and thought more and more and more and more about it, and it became kind of a vicious cycle of anxiety and fear.
This is not a couple. They don't have any of the things that a quality relationship should have. There's no intimacy, there's no connection, there's no trust.
On Monday, May 4th, 2009, Woody and Amanda drop off the kids at school. Surprisingly, Amanda seems to be in a conciliatory mood.
She wanted to make up and she wanted him to forgive her, you know, and she loved him.
When they get home, they decide to make up properly.
Amanda, wanting to make up, wanting to give it another try, she actually said, hey, let's just do this. Let's try to work things out.
Later that afternoon, Woody shows up as usual at his mother's house with the children. She can tell right away something is wrong.
He didn't act right. He wasn't himself. And I asked him how things were going. And he looked up at me. And when he looked up at me, and he looked like he was just looking through me. And I said, have you all made up? And he said, no. And he looked at me and he said, Mom, my life's over. And I said, did something happen? And he just stood there with his head down, and then there was like tears come down and I could see him rolling down his face.
When he finally does talk, Phyllis realizes that everything is about to change.
At that time, I was ballistic. He didn't call the police. He didn't get help.
With his wife Amanda willing to reconcile, Woody Smith should be overjoyed. But when he arrives at his mother's to drop off the kids, he's clearly devastated.
What has she done, sweetheart?
He told me, he said, Amanda said she wanted to make up. And he said she had me make love to her.
According to Woody, this brief reconciliation came to a swift and tragic end. After they dozed off, Amanda was awakened by an intruder and brutally attacked.
And he said the next thing he knows, he woke up beside her in the bed. She was dead.
Phyllis can't believe what she's hearing.
At that time, I was ballistic. I mean, I was just all kinds of things going through my head.
But for now, her concern is her son. She gives Woody a tranquilizer to calm him down while she calls Amanda's workplace.
I said, Phyllis, this is Stephanie. What is going on? And she said, Amanda's dead. Me and a coworker of mine, they made us go to the bathroom because we were kind of upset.
Just as Phyllis gets off the phone with Stephanie, there's a new crisis.
Woody! Woody! Oh my God. Woody! Sweetheart!
Phyllis dials 911, telling the operator that her son has collapsed and her daughter-in-law is dead.
Yes, could you? I need an ambulance, please.
Then I started having these thoughts go through my mind. Did he take something before he came here?
Woody is rushed to hospital. Police rush to Woody's home and discover Amanda's body. The scene immediately raises red flags.
There was no sign of an intruder. In fact, a lot of the furniture was still dusty. Tables that would have been in front of windows still had dust that was not disturbed. There was just no evidence that anyone else was inside that home.
Investigators soon find other holes in Woody's story. They find it hard to believe that she and Woody were having sex just before her death. Amanda is fully dressed.
She had jeans on, which I recall thinking it's very difficult to clothe an individual that's already passed, and so she definitely was clothed, in my assumption prior to this happening. She had even her gym shoes. I found it particularly interesting that they were perfectly tied.
Back at the hospital, Woody is conscious and cooperating. But he can't explain the scratches they find on his chest. Police don't have to look far for an explanation. Amanda's fake nails are smashed.
She had acrylic nails, and I remember at least 3 or 4 of those nails being cracked off, and anybody who knows anything about those types of nails, they're strong. Obviously, what that indicated to me was that she didn't give up easily. She fought, and she fought hard. Unfortunately, she didn't win the fight.
It's enough to convince police that Woody is lying and that Amanda's killer isn't a mysterious intruder, but Woody himself.
What are you doing? Get off of me! Woody, stop it!
As night falls, Woody finally tells police what really happened. That morning began normally. Woody and Amanda returned home after dropping off the kids at school. But despite Amanda's best efforts, Woody couldn't let go of his suspicions.
He had been looking at his wife's phone earlier that morning. She found out about it and she got very mad. She told him that she would be leaving and that she would take the kids with her and he would never see them again.
Provoked by Amanda's threats, Woody flew into a rage.
He says he became very upset and angry, and that's when the fight started.
Amanda fought back, but her efforts were in vain.
She was tiny. She was 5'4". She didn't weigh much. And here is her husband, who is so much bigger than her.
She had no chance at all against Woody. He's a very, very large guy.
What he said was, we started fighting, and so I choked her to death.
With Amanda dead, Woody ensured his wife could never leave him. But in a macabre twist, he took it one step further.
So that's when he decided, I'm actually going to tie her arms up. I'm going to tie her legs together to make sure she doesn't run away, even though she was really already dead.
But it's what Woody did after killing Amanda that really convinces authorities of his guilt.
According to Woody Smith, Amanda died at about 9 a.m. on that day. He didn't call the police. He didn't get help. He merely covered her up and went about his day. He left Amanda laying in the bed, went and picked up his daughter, and brought her home.
Want some noodles, sir?
After he got home with his daughter, he fixed her lunch. He remembered that he made her noodles. He played with her. They watched cartoons. When his daughter asked, "Where's Mommy?" he said, "She's at work." This whole time, Amanda's laying upstairs, dead. Woody's actions suggested a lot to me. Number one, it suggested that he was very methodical. It indicated to me not only that he knew that he was in trouble, but it also indicated to me that he was trying to get his affairs in order before he turned himself in or called the police. One of the police officers asked this question. They said, "Were you looking for a divorce alternative?" And he said, yes. That alternative was murder.
He thought about it, he planned it. You know, at any point in time, he could have stopped, he could have turned back, but he didn't.
There are a lot of men whose wives cheat on them and they don't ultimately kill their wives. I think what happened with Woody was a combination of a few things. It was his fear of losing his children, his rage at his wife, his sleep deprivation, and all of that, I think, ultimately led to a psychological breaking point where he literally lost his mind in the moment and killed her.
Amanda did not deserve to die, but she did put herself in harm's way by piling a lot on a very unstable man. She cheated on him, she threatened to leave him, and so she set up a very, very dangerous powder keg in her house. Woody clearly had this ultimate fear of ending up out of his children's lives. And in his desperation to avoid realizing that fear, look what happened. He's exactly in the darkest place that he feared being, where he's out of his children's lives now on an active fatherhood kind of a basis.
There's a long history during the troubled part of their marriage where Woody is trying to gain control. And I think he reaches a point where he isn't able to get control anymore, and so he decides the only way that he can control her is by killing her.
Later that same day, Woody Smith is charged with murder. At Amanda's funeral a week later, her friends and family are shocked and furious at a surprise visitor.
I guess it was midway through the visitation. He just walked in the door. I immediately went to find the funeral director to point out, hey, there's the guy, make him leave. So in that process, he actually made his way past Amanda's casket and then exited.
Amanda's lover, David, is profoundly affected by her killing.
David was devastated. David, I think, at first felt like he was to blame for it. I remember the day after it happened, David lived with me at the time. Me and him just sat on my couch and just cried, bawled. I mean, he took it pretty hard.
On September 20th, 2010, his trial begins in the town of Newport, Kentucky. And there's a surprise in store. Woody's lawyer argues that despite his client's confession, Woody has absolutely no memory of Amanda's death.
Woody's position was that he was so sleep deprived that he went into a psychosis, and that's why he had no recollection of anything that happened on that day.
Woody Smith steadfastly maintained he did not have a memory of the event. You might describe it as a partial blackout.
Woody's defense raises the possibility that he killed his wife in the grip of caffeine-induced insanity.
It was like the way that they presented this defense was, I didn't do it. Yes, I confessed to it, but I didn't do it. But if I did do it, then I was all messed up on caffeine. I overdosed on caffeine. It just doesn't make sense.
He's saying that he didn't do it. Then he's saying, well, I did it, but I was under psychosis because of the sleep deprivation.
Woody's caffeine defense draws international attention.
That was what was unusual in the media, that was his defense, and that he actually was going to go to trial and say that I was high on caffeine.
It's an uphill battle, especially when the jury hears his taped confession.
He's sending me to prison, and so be it. And I just want the court and everybody to know that I love my wife very much, and I will never hurt her. That's all I have to say.
Woody did testify at trial, and what really stands out is his complete denial of his statement. So what was interesting is on the stand, he heard his recording, and he even stated that, I hear my voice and I recognize my voice, but that's not me. I didn't do it.
The jury doesn't buy it. Woody is convicted of first-degree murder.
So, they read the verdict. We were, I don't want to say ecstatic, but we were relieved. They served justice for Amanda, that he wasn't going to get away with it.
On October 20th, 2010, Woody is sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 20 years. He appeals his conviction to the Kentucky Supreme Court, but his request is denied. He still maintains his innocence.
I've talked to him alone, and I've told him, Woody, I understand, if you snap. And he said, Mom, he said, I went to counseling. He said, I've seen a psychiatrist. He said, I cannot remember. I don't believe that I would do that to my wife. He said, because I love her too much.
Amanda's death has left an immeasurable void in the lives of her friends and family.
She was one of them people that you could tell anything to. Your deepest, darkest secret, and she would take it to the grave.
The one tragic thing about all of this is Amanda was orphaned at a very young age, and now both of her kids are orphaned.
I believe she's at peace because I've had indications of that, I've had really good feelings and prayers answered that she's okay. And I know she's watching out for her children more than I think, too.